Hi, everybody. This is Ty Bordoni, professional full-time mediator, as well as a primary mediation trainer. Um, and uh, Today, I thought I wanted to talk about the similarities and the differences between two family cases that I had this week, and and how really every case is case by case. Regardless of any similarities that the cases may have, we have to give the parties what they need in that day. And there are different approaches sometimes too. So, two family cases, both resulted in impasse, but one took just a little over an hour. The other took about 4.5 hours. In one of them, the parties were talking about the relocation of a minor child, and in the other, we're talking about a supervised, a safety focused step up time sharing due to some issues between one of the parties and the minor child. Um, why was both were at impasse? Why was one so fast, and why did one take a while? Because that's what each of those cases needed. But at the appropriate time, I gave the parties what my instincts were telling me I was seeing at that point as appropriate. In the quick case, I recognized the parties were nowhere close. They had a very different perspective, and my sense was that they were entrenched in each of their positions. In the other, while I thought parties were entrenched, there seemed a willingness to try and come to agreement. And so we continued until such time as it seemed like they had reached an obstacle in this particular mediation. In both instances, when I thought I recognized it was appropriate, when I saw what I understood to be uh, what was going on based on my opinion. I let the parties know what I thought I was seeing in an appropriate manner because we don't just keep the mediation going past the point when it's not useful anymore. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't push, but you push as appropriate, not just to push, right? I don't want to belabor mediation. This is an expensive process. And if we're making progress, let's keep on going. If we've hit that wall, let's try and get around that wall. But if we can't, I'm going as appropriate case by case. I'm going to let the parties know what I think I'm seeing and where I think I can help, and or if I think that we're not making any other progress. By the same token, I also made a recommendation to one in one of these cases that it seemed to me that what, another a neutral party, another whether it be a social investigator or whether it be a guardian ad litem or whether it be a parenting coordinator, that it seemed like the parties in that particular case, whichever one it was, might consider using this moving forward at an appropriate time. Luckily, there were attorneys in both cases that work well with the mediator, right? But each case, my friends, is different. And how do we get the mediator's instincts to understand when to move forward, when to turn left, when to turn right, when to give the parties uh, devil advocacy, reality checking, reframing, when to give it to them straight, when to let them see what you think you're hearing and seeing in both sides as appropriate, while still remaining neutral with both parties, subjectively neutral, as most of the time was spent in caucus with these parties. And what does subjective neutrality mean? That means being their mediator and seeing and being in their shoes when you're in with them, right? Giving the parties what they need. And even an impasse still serves the parties. Every mediation should not uh, turn into an agreement. Sometimes what they need in that day is non agreement or a partial or a temporary. or a full agreement, but it's case by case. And we need experience so that we can tell the difference, so that we can understand what's going on, so that we can give the parties what they need. There is so much wrapped up in what I just said, but I would love your comments. I would love your perspective, and keep on making a difference, right? You're a superhero. What we do matters. Not every case can we make that difference that we'd like to make, but in every case, we serve the parties and we help move them forward as appropriate. And keep on being a great mediator and making a difference in your community and hopefully the world, one mediation at a time. Would love your thoughts. Best of luck. Keep on mediating. Stay well. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.